welcome to 2025. If you haven't done your business planning, you should. And let's talk about how that might look for you. So, first, I want to ask you, oh, okay. Yeah, I want to go back. Okay, why should you plan? I mean, Eisenhower said planning is everything, the plan is nothing. If you don't plan, how do you know? How do you know if you're doing the right things? And a written plan is getting it out of your head and putting it down so you can share it with other people. You can use it as a guide for yourself. There's so many ways you can use a plan to help you and your business grow. That's not to say you may not have already thought about what you want to do, but year after year, I've worked with clients that have written out their business plan, and there's a sense of accomplishment when we lay down the plan from 2012, 2013, 2014, and we actually get to see how we incrementally have become better, how we have improved on our skill sets. So there's no downside to having a written plan. Why does this work well for you? It is a strategic roadmap. It's going to help you think through. I mean, when we talk about planning, it's not just what am I going to do? It's how am I going to get it done? I mean, that's as important as having the KPIs. You've got to think through and think about all the things that can happen. It's a structured approach to you finding success in your business. It's going to help you with the clear path. Typically, when I work with clients, I'll always ask them one question. I ask them to do a look back for the year that they had previously. And I'm going to ask basically what went right? What did you try new? What was different? What went wrong for what you tried new? What did you learn from it? And what would we like to have happen in the future? This is all part of the mindset of a planner. Is first you go back, you look at things, and then you think forward. It is a tool for you. If you have a business operation where you may have 5 to 6 people and you're the leader and you know where you're going, how do you get that communication across to them? How do they understand what you are not only valuing, but what you think is critical that has to happen in order for the organization to work? I typically tell my clients, you're only as good as the dumbest person on your team. So if you don't invest in them and you don't develop them and you don't share with them where you're going and what you're doing, they can be a drag on the organization. So it is worth it to pour into your people and to share with them your vision. It's also a tool for accountability. If I just know that I want to get certain things done in my first quarter, it kind of keeps me on tap, right? I mean, I need to see how close am I? What am I doing? What have I done? Planning is great, but it also forces you to step back and realize you have limited resources: time, money, people. Those are the 3 major variables in any business that you have to figure out. How do you allocate them? Where do you put the time and the money and all of those things so that you can get what you want out of it? And things change. Back in December 2019, I had written up so many business plans. It was fantastic. We all knew where we were going. By March 2020, we had to stop and reevaluate. But at least we already had a tool that would help us do that. Now, as opposed to just running by the seat of your pants. Again, I'll ask a lot of my clients, if Google came to you and said, we want to buy your operation, do they want to buy an operation that is well thought out, has policies and processes and systems where we have some real chance of consistently hitting the targets in growth and development? Or do they want to buy somebody's business who's flying by the seat of their pants and they're making it every day as they come along? I don't think Google wants to do that. Anybody who's looking at buying your business wants to see that you have these types of vehicles and tools in place that are working. So again, why should we plan? Because if you don't have a written plan, how do you define success? How do you know? Is it just because I got more money today than I had bills? That's not success. You could be one step away from, crashing and burning your business if all you are going by is, I have a feeling I'm making good success. Having a business plan is hard facts. We define what success looks like. So we spent this time together talking about why we should plan. So why would people plan? I mean, why wouldn't they just do it, right? Well, there's a couple of reasons why people don't plan. One, I don't know what the future is going to hold. Well, we don't know what's going to hold, but I guarantee you, if you don't take steps toward figuring out the future you want, you become a victim. The complexity. Yes, it can be complex to figure out your business plan, but by the same token, there are tools that can make this so much easier. I'm going to show you one a little later in this presentation. Data availability. I don't know everything about everything. No, but part of the planning process is accumulating your data so that you can use it so it can talk to you. Does it take time? You bet it takes time. But there's an old saying, if you don't have time to do it right the first time, what makes you think you'll have time to fix it later? So take the time to do it. Resistance to change. This is probably the biggest thing that I notice when I work with people and I'm doing business plans. If they spend more time telling me how they do stuff, why they do stuff, if it's not working, it's not working. Let's figure out how to redefine success. Expertise, that's why you got a coach. Coaches come to you, we provide you the expertise that can help you plan. And this is also a part of planning that I usually have to reel in my clients is they're overly optimistic. I made $100,000 last year, but next year I'm going to make $500,000. Yeah, that's not going to happen. A good plan keeps you steeped in reality. If you typically only grow by 10%, then we might want to stay there. We may even be a little, aggressive and think 15 or 20%, but we're not going to wholesale do a 500% improvement. And that's okay, because inch by inch, incrementally, we will build the business to success. Adaptation to change. Here again, this is right up there to resistance to change. The only constant I know in business is change. And I tell people embrace it. Many, many times I work with people, they hired a few folks and they didn't work out. You got to just keep hiring until you find the right team. You can't just stop. Your financial constraints, there are really no constraints to planning as far as I know. It will pay you back dividends if you can take the time and do it right. It does help hold you accountable to yourself. I have many, many clients that will ask me, will you help me hold my team accountable? And my answer is, nope, I will not help you hold your team accountable. What I will do is I will help you train your team to hold themselves accountable. I have a real problem with holding adults accountable that I'm paying them. It sounds like micromanagement, and that just never has worked right. Help people understand the tools they need to hold themselves accountable. And guess what? Business plan is part of that. If they have a plan and they know what they're supposed to do, they've got their own accountability. Lack of clear goals, we'll fix that in a good plan and external factors. So why not live where we can? You control what you can. I have a lot of clients that will tell me their teams will tell them, I didn't sell this product or that product because the price was too high. And my question is, did you set the price? No. If they work for a company and they've already manufactured a product and they're just selling the product, don't ever get bogged down. on issues that you can't control. There are so many things that you can control. Why would you ever, ever, ever let something outside of your control influence your business and your success? That makes no sense at all. So the first thing we want to do in good planning is we do gather all our data. I highly recommend, and I work with my clients all the time with doing a SWOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You have to take a snapshot of where your business stands today. What are the things that are going on so that you can, what I call, get underneath the hood of the business so you can see how it works. When we do this, just like any other time, we're going to figure out what worked, like I said, in 2024 in our planning now, and then what went wrong. Lessons. We want to grow. We don't want to repeat mistakes over and over again. Second, select a tool. The tool I like, the tool I use is called the one-page business plan. And the one-page business plan helps you look through and look at your goals and think about what you want to do and when you want to get it done. And then we manage by facts, not by fear, not by feelings, but by facts. One of the reasons I'm a big fan of that one-page business plan is because I've seen and have been a part of creating those 12-page business plans. You know, the one the company asks you to do, and you do them, or you bank, and you never look at that thing again. It's not a living document. It doesn't help you figure out how to run your business. It was like an information dump for somebody else. And now here you are trying to run your business and you never ever go back and look at it. So it's important to have something that helps you execute. Because remember, that's the most important planning is your ability to execute. So what I have with the one-page business plan is it's a fill in the blank. That means we don't have to start from square one. We avoid some of those challenges that get in the way of our planning. And we start out, and I have here the first draft, and I say first draft because it's probably going to take up to your third draft to get it right. So we look at this and we want to know, what are we doing? We're looking to try to put together what it is we are building, what's important, how we're going to go about doing that, and what are our steps we will take. We have to make sure it's realistic. So these are the 5 questions that I ask when I'm working with my clients on building their one-page business plan. First, we look at our vision. And our vision is defined as what are we building? I had a coaching session with a young lady at a conference, and she sat down and she said to me, I think I need help. And I was like, okay, tell me what's going on. She says, well, I borrowed a lot of money and I spent it all up and I haven't gotten where I'm going. Should I borrow some more? No, stop. It's like, what are you building? And she's like, what? What exactly are you? She said, I'm in business. She hadn't actually explored what it is she was actually trying to do. She just went in business. And you'd be surprised how many people do that. I always get this, well, I got an LLC. That's wonderful. You have done all these little teeny bitty things, but you haven't answered the most important question. What are you building? And then we want to know why. It's not enough to say, oh, I'm building this wonderful business that's going to service, all of these people. Why? Why you? Why should they pass 5 other people to get to you? What makes you special? They need to have this answer, and it needs to be able to be put in writing, out of their head, into the plan. Then we move to the measurables. That's your objectives, also known as KPIs, your key performance indicators. Whatever you want to call it, the way I look at it is if we get all of these things accomplished by the end of the year, we can check off success. This is truly where you're going to define what you need to do, what your business needs to do in order to be successful. Then we look at how. Now that I know what I need to do, how am I going to do it? How am I going to find the clients? How am I going to go about training my team? How am I going to go about making sure that I am aware of the environment that I'm in? How? That's your strategies. The more you think about it, the better you can get at it, the closer you're going to be to success. And then the last thing is what's the work that has to be done and who needs to do it? That's the action steps. Who's going to do it? I need to have somebody hired by the end of first quarter. Is there something that needs to be done? I need to have Sally Sue trained up and licensed. What needs to be done? This is where we're looking at breaking it down into the work that needs to be accomplished. This is what a blank one-page plan will look like. And one of the things we start out with, remember I said we have a fill in the blank, the vision statement, what are we building? This is a typical template that we fill out, within the next, and I typically like to do 3 years. Grow the company, whatever company it is. We look at our sales. We look at where are we located? Are we in the southeast? Or are we just in the state of Georgia? What kind of business is it? And this may look very simplistic, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes your clients or you as a client haven't really thought about, what's my key products? Oh, I provide insurance. Really? Just insurance? Or are you providing, commercial insurance or life insurance or, what are your products? And then the last line is very important. And this is, I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients that stumble on this. They're like, so who's our target market? Who do we really want to sell to? Because you cannot be all things to all people. That will put you all over the place. You need to be almost laser focused on who's your preferred client. That doesn't mean you won't take clients outside of that. But when you're working on your marketing plan and you're doing some things, you ought to have an idea who it is you want to play with. Who are the folks that you prefer to work with so that you can really target that in. The mission statement, this is also a tricky place where we talk about why are we in business, because I ask people to be succinct. In this particular area, I ask them to say less than 8 words if they can. Then we talk about our objectives. Again, like I said, these are the things that are important, our strategies, our action plans. Then we end up with a concise, actionable business plan that's on one sheet of paper, not 12. This is portable. It's easy to send to other people. It's easy for you to refer back to, which you should if you're working on this every month. This should be part of what you do. Planning, last concept here, it improves your execution. This is the best plans are worthless. I mean, they just are worthless if you cannot consistently review it and courageously execute it. That's the most important part. It takes discipline. So it was the discipline of getting it done, but it's also the discipline of using it as the tool to manage for the results that you want. At Diversified Professional Coaching, we're committed to your success. We're passionate. We understand, and we're really good at moving people from chaos and complexity to simplicity and clarity. So we want to ask that you think about us because we value listening to our clients, supporting them, learning from them, and helping them become successful. I like to think of it as a coach, I help my clients become the best version of themselves.